Hi guys, welcome back to a market review. Today has tilted me, to be honest with you. There is something in particular that I need to seriously work on in my trading in order for me to hit the next stages. I cannot seem to hold on to my winners long enough to realize the maximum potential that they could for the day. So I'm just going to go through the trades that I took today, and you can just have a look at precisely what happened and why I was so frustrated with the day today. So this is my platform. These were the trades taken today. So you've got one winner, one loser, and one break even, which ends up on the day break even. But this should have been a 3-4 hour trade type of day. I should have had at least 3 hour today. And it's frustrating because I've done this multiple times to myself. Look at this, for example. Now, this was on the Friday where I took a trade off of this structure here and this fair value gap, and I closed it out on the basis that I didn't want to have a loser going into a news release. Well, lo and behold, my position, if I just held my position, I put the stops below here, would have had 2R, possibly 3 and more in the course of the same day. So it would have had 2R by the end of the same day, and it would have had 3R by the start of a new day, and 6R by the start of the day after, So if I had just held on to this trade, then it could have been a potentially huge winner, right? So yeah, I'll go through it today. So the day started off with me looking at obviously the daily to assess whether we were sort of making bullish moves to the high side or not. So obviously Aussie yen, it was looking particularly bearish because it had a bearish breaker and close. So this was an H4 breaker. The pink is the purple is the H4 breaker. And then we go down into the inside time frames. You've got an H1 OB just in here. And then you've got a 15-minute POI. So the point of interest on the 15-minute is the one that I really wanted to. So when I was looking at the market had not made this entire move up. It hadn't made that move up just yet. It was somewhere in between here. So even before Asia session was over, I put a limit just at the 105s with the stop below here, predicting that if the market moved higher by the time London started, it would probably would have retested this level and then moved higher, and that's exactly what happened. By the time I woke up, I was in 1R. I was in a positive 1R move. Okay. Now the problems here's where the problem starts. I had to sit in this for basically what looked like an eternity, but it was only about 2 hours. Okay, so when you're taking trades off of the 15-minute, 2 hours is basically around about 8 to 12 candles. Okay, so and in that time it's not done anything but move sideways. It's not gone down towards where my level is, and I'm so afraid of letting it do that once it gets to this point here, it's so close to hitting my level, it's so close to my TP, it's basically 1 or 2 pips away from hitting my TP, and then it reverses and I immediately get out. I said, I'm not having this come all the way back here just so it can stop me out. Lo and behold, not even 5-10 minutes after I take it off, it moves in my favor, hits the target, and then it even makes an extended move up. So a trade that was meant to be at least 2R, ended up being 1R, with the potential of being 3R if I had just waited or set and forgot. Okay, now that difference is the difference between losing 2 trades and still being profitable, and not losing 2 trades still being profitable, right? So again, it's really saddening. I mean, if I look at it, the loss is fine because you will have losses during the day, and I think I have at least one loss every day. But if I look at this chart, you know, there was no indication for me to exit this position. I had a nice structure here. I entered really nice set and forget entry. You know, if I put my stop loss down here, you're looking at a 3R, which is up here towards the high of the day. But look at this. I mean, I was in emotional pain when this market, you know, it had come all the way up to here, didn't feel me, and then had retraced basically near 1R. And I was just like, I couldn't hold it, I couldn't stomach it. And as soon as I exited, you know, 10 minutes later, it was back up. And then, you know, within the hour, it had hit my target. So I couldn't stomach it, I couldn't hold it. Now, if I'd held it to 2R, this would have been a 1R day, and that would have been okay. The other one is the fact that I'm cutting my trades by pretending to minimize risk when actually I shouldn't be doing that. So this instance, the Aussie CAD is another trade. So this Aussie CAD left me at break even, but by then my emotional capital had been drained out of me. Okay, so if I look at the Aussie CAD, where is it? Right. Okay, so I had entered the Aussie CAD. Basically, this is the position here. So I'd entered it around about in the afternoon. So the CAD had shown signs of strength. The Aussie had shown signs of strength throughout the day. The CAD had shown signs of weakness. You've got a breach of Asia lows right here. So manipulation. So you know, accumulation, a manipulation, and a distribution. It's just clear market price action, right? Market comes into, you know, I've seen this move happen, and I'm saying, right, we're going to get a break and retest. So I didn't even wait for me to sort of get a better entry, because the best entry I should have took was this one here. But I'm too scared to, you know, miss out on moves. So my entry ended up being up here, you know, which makes a huge difference when you're talking about your stop loss and therefore your risk to reward. So when my entry is up here, right, it means that instead of my 1 to 2 being somewhat possible to attain, you know, going all the way up there, 1 to 2 is there. But if I put my limit here, my 1 to 2 is significantly shorter. You know, 1 to 7, 1 to 9, 1 to 2 is literally there. It basically means that the price has to move a lot further. Now, this one here, what happened here? Well, I entered the market, you know, somewhere around here. We'll just put it somewhere around here, and I anticipated that the market, after making this move down, will not come up here and then come back down. It won't manipulate twice or 3 times after it's manipulated the Asian range. So I put my entry there, and the market was going in my favor. But when it was at this point here, about one to one, I've moved my stop to break even. So I've moved my stop not even at these lows, which ideally is what you should do because these are structural lows. I've moved my stop right at that level, and of course, what does the market do? Adds you out, and then immediately starts going in your favor. Now, it didn't work out fully, but this is just another one of those situations where by the time 4 p.m. arrived, I was incredibly frustrated. My inability to hold on to trades due to the fact that I just cannot seem to get my money management, my trade management right. In about 7 trades, right, I have managed to gain the right perspective as to the bias, so the daily bias, right, I've managed to pick a good entry position. So in this instance, I'm picking an OB here that's been retested with structure, and with a bias and a context to the market that is very reasonable, very sound. And I've done this for 6 or 7 trades. I mean, if we go back to the last 2 weeks, or certainly after the year started, every single one of these trades has had is a decent trade to have had taken. It's just that I'm not maximizing my potential. Granted, there's a few big winners in here, but ever since last week on the 8th, I've basically taken 1R break even, minus 1R break even, 1R. So I'm literally trading, the same, but in that time I've also taken loads and loads of trades that I've ended up with me paying commissions. Okay, so if I analyze every single one of these trades, it's pretty clear that I do have the right bias. I do have the right sort of idea as to what I'm doing. It's just a case of when it's working, it's working. When it isn't, it isn't. I should have granted, I'm still up, balance is still up, but this is only 4R. I should have been up loads more. I should have been up 10R, which is the frustrating thing. So I don't know. I took 3 trades. I wasn't going to look for any more. The final nail in the coffin was when I was looking at the US markets, and I had marked out the previous. So on the day, I had marked out this H4 order block, which I wanted price to come into. Now it did do that quite quickly, so I was not expecting such a huge move lower, but I knew that if the London markets opened and we were really low on the day, that as soon as we had a structural shift to the upside, especially on the hour, that we would retest and then we would break higher. Now my problem was that I wasn't willing to put a limit right at this level. I wasn't willing to put a limit right there. What I should have done is put a limit right there. So you basically had a huge bearish move lower, based off of news, but you had buyers stepping in ever since 8 o'clock. Buyers were just stepping in. And if people are unaware, 8 o'clock is the stock market open. It's pre-market. So 8 a.m. is pre-market. 9:30 is regular session trading. That's when everything is up and running. But 8 a.m. is pre-market. So 8 a.m. market dumps and then it starts to recover, and as soon as it was here, I was debating whether I should take it. Now in hindsight, if the market had done one of these, I would be kicking myself as to why I let myself be in a position where the market would do that. So it's not one of those, it's not a situation where it's one or the other. I think being a little bit more risk averse over the course of the long term benefits you to a certain extent. However, it's been such a frustrating day, especially for me. I mean, I looked at a potential for gold to come back into structure. It never did. I looked at silver to come back into structure, and it did. So I was looking at this buy side liquidity up in there, and so when it did arrive, the opportunity arose for me to enter these 2 positions. But so you had an initial hold into Asia session, and then when it broke above Asia, this was it holding the Asian session highs, and it held them for basically from 5:30 all the way up until 2. That was an opportunity for me to enter, and I couldn't hit the button. I couldn't risk this market doing one of these, because it would have meant that I was wrong, and especially since the day that I've had, and I was risking and I was just fighting myself, I just thought it was best to just take 3 trades and go. I think it is a good thing to have a trade limit, but at the same time, it feels incredibly poor of me to not be able to maximize the returns that I get whenever I have a good day. So that is something that I need to work on going forward. I definitely need to work on going forward. But anyway, thank you for the review. Thank you for listening. This is more for me to view later, perhaps, but hopefully within the next few days I can maximize, basically maximize my returns, and improve on my trade management. I think I'll need to institute a set and forget method, maybe a 1 to 2 set and forget, with a 1 to 1 being your BE point. But yeah, anyway, thank you for listening, guys. Much appreciated. Cheers. Bye bye.